What is up, everybody? Austin here, co-owner of Gymflo, a supplement brand company based out of Richmond, Virginia. And with this series, especially these episodes that are going to be following, hopefully we can give you some insight and some perspective of how we built Gymflo over the past few years, things to maybe look out for, maybe things to try and do a little bit more, and also maybe give you some inspiration and motivation to quit dragging your feet, being so worrisome, and chase after whatever you might be passionate about, whether it's starting your own supplement brand or fitness brand or totally different business in general, whatever you may be passionate about, just doing and starting it, chasing after it. With that being said, let me grab a tripod. My arm's getting tired already, so I can set up shop and maybe dive into the startup story of Gymflo. So we're going to take it back to 2010, where it sort of all kicked off for the love of fitness, because it all is interconnected, obviously. So in 2010, I was in a really bad car wreck where I spent about 7 weeks in the hospital. And after that hospital stay, I moved to a rehab center to where I lived there for 2 months. Not like a drug rehab center, more like a rehabilitation center to where you learn how to do things like simply walk, feed yourself, go to the bathroom, things like that. Things you take for granted, being not injured or disabled. Anyways, long process going through the hospital and the rehabilitation center, but in the rehabilitation center is where it all kicked off pretty much. Every day the therapists were sending me down to the gym inside the rehabilitation center, even in my wheelchair, to go crank out curls, dips in the parallel bars, bench pressing, stuff like that, working on my balance and stability. Truly rebuilding my body after being so atrophied for so long. And I really wasn't into lifting or fitness before the wreck. It was in that gym to where I realized, hey, I'm seeing progress, I'm making progress, I'm becoming better. And I knew deep down that the gym would be something that would only continue to help me progress and become better. And that's where the love for fitness actually started for me. A few months later, my first job outside of that rehab center was at a local gym where I grew up at, and I was working the front desk there. So of course, I got a free membership. So that only fed into the addiction of lifting every day, seeing the results that I was getting, and falling in love with it even more. And in that gym is where I took some of my first supplements. And I remember it to this day. It was a pill bottle that a guy was just tired of using. He said he couldn't swallow the horse pills anymore. And they were gigantic pills back then. And it was a pump product or a nitric oxide product. So I took it for a little while. I saw a little bit of a benefit, but I really wasn't training probably like I should to see the full benefits of a pump and seeing the blood flow. And I was still new, so I didn't even know how my body really felt to begin with. This was just a few months into like actually lifting. After that, I met a few other people that were dabbling with pre-workouts, because pre-workouts kind of just started popping off, at least in my opinion, around that time, maybe 2011. It was like No Explode and Jack 3D. And even though those products were great for their time back then, products nowadays are much more innovative and better quality-wise than most of those products that we think that were great are, but they were great for their time. It got everybody hooked. And you know for a fact, if you've taken pre-workout, it's hard not to take it anymore. You do truly see the energy benefits, the endurance, the blood flow, the pump, the endurance. I mean, it's hard not to use it because there's so much of a benefit to supplements. But after dabbling with pre-workout, seeing the benefits, seeing how much more performance aspect it gave me, I started dabbling with other supplements like proteins and fat burners, stuff like that, and just seeing all the benefits from them and just seeing how they changed your body. And not only that, but just your overall performance in and out of the gym. So moving on down the road, a few months later, or probably, let's say maybe 3 or 4 years later, probably around 2016. I don't remember the month when we first ordered our first tubs, but 2016, I was working for my mom full time with a job that's completely boring, so there's no need to talk about that. But she was losing a little bit of work with her business, so in fact, I lost some of my work. So I moved more so from full-time to part-time. And with income being lost out of that, I wasn't able to afford to go buy my usual regimen of supplements from GNC or Vitamin Shop, wherever I was shopping at the time. So I came home one day from work after a few weeks of not having that income that I'm used to, and I'm like, shit, man, I can't afford to go buy any supplements, especially pre-workout. I really enjoyed using that, and I still do to this day. But I was like, how can I make my own supplements to where I can afford it, but also create it to where the way I want it flavored and the ingredients that I know that I want in my pre-workout or in my products. So I did some research. Google is the answer for everything. For y'all that don't know how to start anything, Google it. And you know what? There's something even better out there now. It's called YouTube. Somebody will actually show you or talk to you about it like I'm doing here. But Google did a little bit of research for a few hours and realized that I could buy bulk powdered ingredients. I could buy bulk tubs to put those ingredients into. I could buy bulk scoopers. I mean, the list goes on. You can literally find anything you need on the internet to start practically anything. So made a few, crunched some numbers and whatnot, and I talked to Jake, my brother, who is co-owner of Gymflo with me, and he was my roommate at the time in 2016. He got home from work and I was like, yo, if we put $70 together, we could order enough powder and ingredients and supplies to make 3 tubs of pre-workout, which isn't the best price or cost to make a product, but it gets you started, at least for the ingredients and dosings that we were using back then. But our first order ever was 3 tubs worth of powder, and the tubs obviously and the scoopers. So we were in our kitchen where we were originally making all of our products, on our kitchen counter like Breaking Bad, where they had a gram scale from Amazon. We were weighing all the ingredients out, putting them in tubs, the raw powders, then putting powdering flavors in there or water flavoring in there for flavor. And we would walk around the apartment living room just shaking the tubs up, mixing the bulk powders. So later on that night, we were like, hey, it's time to hit the gym. Are we trying these things out or what? Jake and I, we sat there for a second and we were like, yo, are we gonna die? Or who's gonna die first? So we were like, let's take them together. If we're gonna go out, we'll go out in a bang. So we scooped them back, rode to the gym. The whole ride to the gym was a little anxious, but it turned out to be perfectly fine. Great pump, energy, and we realized, damn, we could literally make our own pre-workout, at least for ourselves, and make it at a decent price for ourselves. Moving on, we told friends about it at the gyms. They tried it. When people started trying it more and more, they were getting back to us and they were like, yo, if you make this, I'd buy it from you. You should sell it. So we did the numbers and we realized the more bulk ingredients you ordered and the more quantity you ordered, the better pricing you got. So we ordered more bulk and got our pricing down a little bit better to where we could actually make a little margin to continue selling it and also restocking it. But also the money that was coming in would supply our own pre-workout and make our product free. So win-win, right? So over about a year, maybe a year and a half's time, we moved, I believe, close to 400 units of handmade product that we were making. So these products, they weren't pretty by any means. They were all handmade, and it took quite amount of time to make one tub. One tub would probably take like 10 minutes to make, from measuring out ingredients and raw powders, packaging it with packaging tape and printer paper of the label, and then putting a heat seal wrap over top of it, about 10 minutes. And that didn't even include shaking the powders up too, because we'd walk around double fist and shaking those tubs up. So after moving a couple hundred units of our pre-workout called Gymflo back then, because that's what we had called it, we didn't really have a name for the particular product, which nowadays you can find it as All or Nothing. We had gotten a lot of notoriety and word of mouth had spread, and that's key for any business, is word of mouth. Getting your product or service out there as much as you can locally to your friends, family, and people that are around you, so they get to talking and spreading the word. And that's really gonna help your business grow, obviously. We had gotten enough notoriety that a gentleman was opening a local supplement store in Richmond, had heard about us and had reached out to want to partner up and work with us carrying our products at his store when he opened. And I'm going to save that story for the next episode, because that's when our sort of hand-making products scaled into getting products made in a certified facility, funding, investments, and all that good jazz. More money talk will be in the next episode. So with that being said, if you have any questions about the startup of Gymflo or anything about this episode at all, drop it down in the comments below. And obviously follow us on social media in the description below. And we'll see you next time on the series.